Alrighty, so at this point, you should have a command line or terminal installed or up and running on whatever platform you're using. So whether you're on a Mac, PC, or you decided to go with Cloud9, it doesn't matter, but you just need to make sure you have it installed, because from here on out, we're going to start typing some commands. So if you skipped this video, go back a couple videos before this and install a command line. So before we can actually learn new commands, let's talk about the file structure of our computers. So all computers are organized with directories or folders and then files. Basically, your machine is just a bunch of folders inside of other folders inside of other folders in hierarchy, so there's an order there. And what's most important to us right now is that there's a top level directory, which is known as the root directory. It's also represented by a slash. So here it is, a visual representation of the root directory, which again is just slash. So all the files in my computer are somewhere inside of the root. My desktop is in there, my photos. It might not be directly inside of root. It might be 20 or 100 folders down the line, but eventually everything is inside of root. So our computers are organized in a tree-like structure where we have folders inside of other folders, sort of like the branches of a tree. And I just have two represented here, TMP, temp, and users. But in the real world, there's probably a dozen or more folders inside of my root directory. And then inside of the users directory, for example, we might have another directory. In this case, Colt. You will probably have one depending on your username for your computer that matches that username. But that's not really the key thing here. What's more important is just the basic structure. It's a tree-like structure where we have a bunch of branches inside of other branches. And there's a top-level thing called the root. Now, why does this root matter? Well, every single file and folder on your computer has what's known as an absolute path. So an absolute path is just a way of referring to a file or folder based off of its position relative to the root. So for example, this Colt directory is located inside of users, which is located inside of root. So from anywhere on my computer, whatever folder I'm in, I could refer to the absolute path of this Colt file or directory by saying slash for the root, users for the users directory, and then I add another slash in between any other level, any layer. So it's slash users slash Colt. And if I had another file or folder after this, I would need another slash for every layer afterwards. So again, absolute paths always start with slash, and then it's just the full path to get to whatever file or folder. So next, we have a very big, broad question. Where am I? Not what's your place in the universe, but where are we in your terminal? So when I open up a new terminal window, which I'll actually do right now, just Command N on a Mac, I'll make this bigger. What directory do I start in? And you might think that I'm in the root directory, but I'm actually not. By default, all terminals will open up in what's known as the home directory. So the home directory is represented by the tilde, that little key, usually above your tab. You need to hit Shift and then whatever this key is above the tab in order to get that tilde. But that's the default directory on almost every computer when you open up a terminal. So it's usually the username of your account on the computer. So in this case, in my slides, it's Colt. On my actual computer, I believe it's Colt Steel. But that's inside of a users directory inside of root, the slash. So these are the only two symbols you need to know for directories. Root is a slash, and then the home directory, which is where pretty much everything that you do in your life is represented by a tilde. So the rest of this on a typical computer is sort of default operating system stuff that we don't have to mess with ourselves. And you can actually see when I open up that new window, I have a little tilde here, and that tells me that I'm in the home directory. But what if I actually wanted to know the exact absolute path of where I am? Fortunately, there's a command for that. So this is our first command, pwd, stands for print working directory, and it tells you the full absolute path of wherever you are in the command line. And we haven't learned how to change directories, how to move around. So right now it's always going to tell you the exact same thing. So if I was inside of the stuff directory, which we don't know how to do that just yet, but if there was another directory inside of my home called stuff, and I wanted to use pwd, I would get /users /Colt/stuff. Remember that first slash, very important, signifying the root. So if I hop over here to my terminal and I just type pwd, I get /users /Colt Steel, because I'm not inside of a stuff directory yet. I'm just in the home directory by default. So that's all there is to PWD. Print working directory gives you the full absolute path of wherever you are. So in the next video, we're going to learn how to change where you are. But as a quick example, I have another terminal window open and I'm not in the home directory. So I did some witchcraft that you'll learn how to do in the next video to change directories. And if I type pwd this time, I get /users /coldsteel /desktop /top secret. So I'm actually inside of this folder right here, has nothing in it, called top secret on my desktop. And the full absolute path looks like this. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to learn how to change directories, how to move around using the command line.